Hello viewers, welcome to QTP functional testing videos. Myself Uday. In my previous video related to procedures, I demonstrated about sub-procedures, right? In this video, I would like to demonstrate about function procedures. So, what exactly is the difference between sub-procedure and function procedure? A sub-procedure cannot return a value, whereas a function procedure can return a value. As per the need, you can return a value, or if you are not willing to return any value also, you can put that piece of code in a function, right? So the best practice for any development, if it is not returning any value, put that piece of code in a sub procedure. If you are the piece of code which will return some value, then better you put that code as a function procedure. All right, so that is the main difference, right? So if you want to return any value from a piece of code, better put that code as a function procedure. If you are not returning anything, it's just a common set of statements which has to be repeatedly executed, then you put that piece of code as a sub procedure. All right, so um, let me start start a function procedure with a syntax. What exactly is the syntax for a function? All right, so for a function, what you have to do is you need to put the function keyword, and you need to give a function name, whatever the function name that you want. All right, so say return is. All right, and after that you need to specify these parentheses, and if it have any arguments, provide the argument list here. All right, arg1, arg2, or whatever it is, you can specify whatever the variable names that you want to enter here. All right, and this, whatever the code, in, you can place as many number of lines of code as you want in between function and function. All right, so this is the general syntax of a function. All right, so let me start with a sample example. All right, my intent here is how to return NAs. Let's say somewhere in your code you want to return some function called return as. You have to return your as. For that, in order to return any value from a function, what you have to do is you need to give the function name in the left hand side. All right, equal to whatever the value, whatever the return value that you want to give. Say, hey, at this moment I want to return my as 32. All right, so in order to return 32 value to this function, what you have to do is you need to give the function name in the left hand side and equal to whatever the value that you want to return here. All right, so how can I call a function? In order to call a function like a sub procedure, if there is no argument, you can just specify the function name. All right, and put, because it is returning some value, right? When you returning some value, it needs to be captured in some place, right? So when I say temp equal to, so this function will return 32, and this, that 32 value is captured in this temp variable. All right, now once I capture my value, I just want to print that value. Okay, so let me execute this, see what we will get here. So when there are no arguments, you can just call a function by just putting the name, or else you can just calling the function name with parentheses. It will also give you the same result. All right, and as I demonstrated in the previous video related to procedure, like for example, say return square. All right, what the intent of this function is, like whatever the number that you want to input here, it needs to square that number. For example, if I input 2, it should return 4. If I input 3, it should return 9, right? So for that, what I'm doing is I'm taking the number as the whatever the value that I am passing, I'm capturing in this number value. So for that, to return that value, what I will do is I will assign that function with no into no. So when I give 2, what it will do is, if 2 into 2, 4 will be returned to this function. Alright. So for example, say 2, when I give say 5. Alright. Let's see what is getting printed here. As you can see, 5 into 5, 25 is printed. Alright. So that is how we will be calling in a function. But as like in sub procedures which I demonstrated there, you are here we are returning some value. Because of that, whatever the parameter that you are passing, you should place all those variables in this parenthesis. Alright. So for example, say return, how can I pass more than one value, like return addition or return some value. Alright, some value. For that, what I need to do, input 1 comma input 2. I want the sum of these two values to be returned from this function. Alright, for that, what I have to do, I need to give input plus input 2, right? So when I say 5 comma 10, what it will do is 5 will be input 1 will hold the value of 5 and input 2 will hold the value of 10, and 5 plus 10, the sum of 5 plus 10 is written from this expression and will be assigned to this. So that value is returned and captured in this temp variable, and that we are printing here. So at this moment I'm expecting, sorry, it's my bad if I gave a wrong function name here. So when I execute it, it should return 15, right? So that is how we call a function. As like as per your needs, you can put as many number of input that you want to enter here. Alright. So as I demonstrated in my previous video related to sub procedure also, at any point of time, if I would like to come out of any function, what you have to do is you have to use exit function. Alright, so for that, what we did in functions, sub procedures, something like, okay, function retrieval. Alright, so if say it will receive a value, right, if val equal to 3, I would like to exit this function. I don't want to, like, I don't want to execute any statements after it. Alright, I directly want to come out of this function. To come over, like, out of the function, what you have to do is you have to use this syntax. Alright, say when I say print val here, okay, for I equal to 1 to 5, what I want to do here is return val, okay, for say for I. As what I would like to do here is, rather than printing a val, what I would like to do, because it is a function which should return some value, so that is what we are interested here, right? Alright, so I am capturing this here, temp. So my intent here is, like, I would like to print out the square of a number. Alright, but if the value is 3, I don't want to print it. Alright, see, first what I'm doing is I'm just putting from I equal to 1 to 5. After that I'm invoking this function, and for each iteration it will give some value. That value is captured in this variable. If my value is equal to 3, then I don't want to execute this function. If it is not equal to 3, what I would like to do is I would like to square whatever the value which I have inputted or supplied to here, and I want to return the square of that value. Alright, so that value is captured in temp variable and I would like to print it here. So let's see what is getting executed. As you can see, for I equal to 1, I value is equal to 3, no, right? So because of that it will come to this here, val 1 into 1 is 1, which will be returned and printed. After that I value is equal to 2, so value will become 2 here, and 2 equal to 3, no, right? So what will happen is 2 into 2 will be returned. All right, 4 is got printed. After that I value becomes 3, where val equal to 3, and directly exit function. When it reaches exit function, what it will do, it will be the control will come to the end of that function. Alright, how many number of statements are here, it will not be executed any of those statements, and directly the control goes to the end function statement, and from where it is called, the control will come to that statement. Alright, so whenever I here I value is 3, right? So here when I equal to 3, I'm just coming out of this exit function, which is I'm not returning anything. Because of that, it null empty value will be displayed here. All right, so here I'm not returning anything, right? So because of that, temp will hold an empty value which I'm printing here. All right, so that is how we have to exit from any function using exit space function syntax. All right, so whatever the functions that we are writing like this are called user defined functions. All right, in VBScript there are many system or built-in functions. For example, as you can see, print itself is a function. So the what it will do is it will just print whatever the value that you are giving here will be printed in a separate editor at the end of. For example, say if I give say now if I say the print some x, if I comment everything, and if I say print some 25, what it will do is in the open print editor it will, whatever the value that was applied, that will be entered at the end of this editor. All right, so like there are many such functions that are existing in VBScript. You can invoke them as per your needs. All right, so for example, as you can see here, I am returning a one value, right? But how can I return multiple values? So what I mean is, for example, to say uh, what I want to do here is say function square numbers. All right, so for that what I want to do here is I want to input 1 and input 2. All right, output 1 comma output 2. You can give whatever the names that you want. So my intent here is, what I would like to do here is I would like to return more than one value. Okay, so I would have mentioned from a function you can return only one value, you cannot enter more than one value. So for example, say okay, to before to this, what I would like to do here is okay, I want to return these two values. For example, as we can returning one value, if I do like this, input 1. All right, oh sorry, input 2 also, I would say I have some random numbers. I would like to return more than one value like this. If I do like this, or I'll say here input 1 star input 1, right? So square of that number, right? So I would like to, whatever the value, for example, say I am entering 2 3. So what I'm expecting is I need the square of both the numbers. So uh, for the 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, right? I want to return those two values. How can I do that? When I call like this, temp equal to say 2 comma 3 and print temp, what will happen is whatever is the last return value, that will be returned here. As you can see, when I execute it, say the function will be invoked with input 1 and input 2. So input 1 will have a 2 value and input 2 have a value of 3. When I say 2 into 2, it should be 4, and the control will not come directly from here to here. Whereas in other programming languages, when you are returning any value, the control directly flows from the function out of that function to from where you are invoking. Alright, but here, okay, even for example, what I would like to do here is I want to show some small examples so that you will get more idea. For that reason, I am telling you, say return val. Alright, say you are receiving some val and return val equal to say some val. After that, I am printing the val here. So printing, so val star val or something. Alright, now I am invoking that function using say some 3, and I'm capturing that value in a temp and print temp. Alright, so what I would like to do here is, okay, alright, so what I am trying to cover in this example is more like, you are inputting some value. After that, you are returning the value here. So val plus val, for example, if I give 3, what I am trying to here do is add the same number. Right, 3 plus 3 is 6. Okay, in any other programming languages, if you, for example, this is returning a value, right, in VBScript. So in if any other programming languages, if you return a value, the control directly comes from that point to the point where it is calling. But in VBScript, what it will do is it will execute the rest of the statements, like whatever the number of statements that you have. Say hello world. After that, once it reaches to this statement, and the control will come here, right? So let's see what values are getting displayed here. So I'm just closing previous output. As you can see, first when I invoke here 9 with 3, what it does is it is added val plus val. It is 6. After that, at that time, it is not written to here. Rather, it printed this value 3 into 3, 9. As you can see, 9 is printed. After that, hello world is printed. After that, whatever the 6 value, 3 plus 3 is 6, right? That value is returned here, and 6 is assigned to temp, and we are printing that value. Alright, so like that, by seeing this example, what is the output of this? You can able to expect the output. Alright, so as you can see, because the control will not come after this statement, it will go to the next statement, right? So when I say like 2 here, what will happen? 2 into, sorry, 3 into 3, it is 9. 9 will be returned, right? It will not return soon after I am returning here. Alright, so let me execute it. As you can see, 9 got printed. Okay, I will re-execute one more time to make sure that we are getting the right value. As you can see, 9 got printed, right? So that is how, like, at this moment I got only one value only. I cannot return two values when I'm passing like this, right? So how can I return more than one value at a time? So here we can do some logics, like, uh, for example, upon calling this function, we can put some special character in between, and at the receiving end, we can extract with that value, and you can print whatever the way that you want. So what I'm trying to say here is, say, the first value, right? So I said temp1 equal to star temp1, and temp2 equal to 2 star 2. All right. So after that, temp string str equal to temp1. I'm appending some special character like some star or something. All right. So after that, I will say temp2. All right. After that, I will return temp string to here. All right, equal to this value, and at the receiving end, so at this moment what will happen, it will return you 4 star 9. Let me print it. As you can see, 4 star 9 is printed. So here you have to write your own logic to extract those values. For that, what I will do is I will write a logic something like split array, all right, with a delimiter called, what is the delimiter that I put here, star, right? So we will cover this split and all these things in my next videos. Don't worry about that. Split, what it will do is, based on the like, whatever the character that we give here, it will split based on that. So at this moment our output is like 4 star 9, right? So as for example, say some 45 star 23 star 7. If this is my input, split, what it will do is it split based on this character, all right, because I am using that character here. So how it will split is like 4 9 45 23 7, like that. So this array will be returned, and I am capturing that in this value, all right. So when I say print arr of 0, and at the same time I can use print arr of 1, will have the value of 4 and 9. All right, let me print it. Let me execute and show the same values. Oh, sorry. Uh, what went wrong here? Oh, it's my bad. Sorry. Here I should mention it as temp, because this is the place where I have 4 star 9, right? So when I execute it, as you can see, 4 and 9 are written, right? So are there any other ways that we can return more than one value? Yes, there are few other ways, like, here itself you can assign like array, and you can return that value. So what I'm trying to say here is, like, rather than putting all this logic at here at this point of time, so what I would like to do here is, say I declare some array outside of this, or else whatever it is, like, array of 0 equal to input 1 star 1, all right, and arr of 1 equal to star 2, all right. So I can assign these values here itself, and after that I can say square equal to ARR. This is how we will return an array. You can have all values in an array like this. After that function name equal to array will return you the array value, right? So at the receiving end what I will do is I will put this. So now temp is an array. Alright. Now I can put a for loop to iterate through this array I equal to 0 to u bound of temp. This for loops I will cover in my next video. Alright, so here what I will have is now temp of I, right? So basically what I will do here is when I say square root of 2 comma 3, 2 and 3 will be passed here. I am in the array first value. Array will be starting with a 0 index, right? So array with first value I am putting input 1 into input 2. In the second value I am inputting second value into second value, right? Input 2 into input 2. After that I am returning this array. Because of that I am giving the function name equal to array. Alright, so now this function will return you array, and so because of that temp is an array now. Alright, I am putting a for loop to print the values in here. When I execute it, uh, what's syndrome type mismatch. So here what's wrong, say demerit. Will this solve my problem? Just give me a second, let me think about it. Oh bad, oh bad. Oh, 2 into 2, it is written in an array of 0. So just give me some time, we will cover about this by returning how we will returning an array, that we will cover it in the next, I'm not getting anything at this moment, so I will cover it as of now, and we'll see, we will look at it after some time. Right, so and there is another way also to return more than one value, what I would like to do here is I want to cover something like output 1 comma uh, output 2. All right, and say output 2 equal to output 1 equal to this value, and output 2 equal to this. Alright, so here you need not to return any value, and here I will explain you the logic. Alright, so how this will work I will let you know. Say I'm saying say x comma y, and now I would like to print x and print y. Alright, so by default in VBScript, whenever you are calling a function, the values which we are passing in a function are by default by reference. And in any programming, like most of the programming languages, where the values will be passed in two types, either it is passed by values or passed by reference. So I will just give a brief about it. When you are passing a value, what will happen is at the receiving end that value, for example 2 is passing here. If you update any value in here, that will that does not reflect here. Whereas if you pass by value to pass by reference, for example 2 is passing to input 1, and if you do any modifications here, that value will be reflected here. Okay, I will cover this by value and by reference in my next video, but at this moment you just we will concentrate on this here. So what I'm trying to do here is these values will be passed, like x and y will be passed here as output 1 and output 2. So output 1 I am giving some value like input 1 and star input 1. For output 2 I am assigning a value of input 2 star input 2, and these values, because we are capturing it here, I am capturing those values in x and y variable, and I'm printing these values. So when I execute it, let's see what is getting displayed. Oh, it's my bad. Say some. Uh, how am I passing all the values? As you can see, 4 and 9 are written. All right. So whatever the value we are passing, we are putting these, we are assigning these values, and these values are captured back in this variable, and we are printing that values. Alright, so that is how we can return more than one value. Alright, and now how can I return an object? Right, for that what I have is, I think I have a small sample file here. Right, so basically this is like dictionary object. I will demonstrate that code here. Alright, get dictionary object. So here the code is very simple. We are creating a dictionary object. After that we are adding few values. Alright, a dictionary object generally will have a key value pair combination. So the key here is name and the value is Uday, and the key in the next element is which has a value of 32, like that. Alright, so when I say I'll first let me complete the code, and I will let you know how to invoke it. Right, so after that obj dot item of name. Alright, so if you want to return any value, any object from a function, in that function, what you have to do is you have to use this set keyword before that function name, and you have to after equal to, this is my object. As you can see, ODICT is an object. Here it is a dictionary object. Alright, I am adding those values like name, is, and all to this dictionary object, and I am returning that dictionary object here. So if it is a normal numeric or string value or array value, you will directly just use the function name equal to the variable name. Because it is an object, what you have to do is you have to use the set keyword before that function name, and at the receiving end also you have to put the set keyword. Alright, set keyword, and this is my variable name, and this is the function name. So this function will return you this dictionary object which I am capturing in this variable. When I say object, because this is an dictionary object which has a method called item. When I give the name value, it should display the name as Uday. Alright, when I execute it, let's see what is getting printed. As you can see, Uday got printed. Right, as you can also print whatever the, because this dictionary object is returned here, and which is captured in object variable. You can print whatever the methods that are available. You can use all those methods with respect to this object. All right, so that is how we will return a object. All right. So the next thing is like okay, so in QTP we have like few other tools which are related to both sub and functions. All right. So for that what we have is, as you can see, step generator, or else function. At this moment we are dealing with function generators, right? So as you can see, this is an extra feature provided by QTP. Rather than you writing a code like in this, like in expert view, you can give, like you can give whatever the name that you want and all these things in function definition generator. So for that what you have to do is click on insert, click on function definition generator, give the name whatever the value that you want, say print val. All right. So whether it is a function or sub, you have to mention here. All right. Whether the access specifier, whether it is a public or private access specifier, you have to specify it. These things will be more associated, registered to a test object and all will be more covered in QTP. I will be demonstrating those in QTP videos. All right. So say if I would like to have some val as some val. All right. So by default, as you can see, the parameters are passed by reference. All right. So here what I would like to do here is, oh sorry, so when I, so okay, my bad, sorry, just click on function definition. So what is that? Print val. All right, this is a public, and I say some val here. As you can see, val came here, and you can put whatever the code that you want to input here, right? So you just add that syntax here. You can add whatever the code that you want here, like that. The initial syntax and all that you can create using these features. All right. So another thing is like insert step generator. So as you can see, once you click on the step generator, you can find out all, like there are different categories. When you say library functions, what it will do, oh I forgot one thing here. For example, what I did is okay, uh, let's see how we have a function in a function library here. All right. So the same thing we did it in the subroutines as well, right? We will do the same thing here at this moment, because as you can see my subroutine is in here. I will associate this function library to my test and I will call that procedure. In previous example, what I did was, my function is existing in QTP script itself, which can be accessible, right? So when I invoking like that, it will be printed. But now my function is existing in some function library. I will associate that function library and invoke that function. How can I do that? Just click on file, click on settings, go to resources, add the function library where exactly it is. So it is my function library and apply. Okay. Now when I associate that function library, when I invoke it, it should be able to invoke that method. As you can see, location India got printed here because we gave the location as India here in this script. All right. So why I jump to here is like to cover one important point here. Click on step generator. As you can see, by default these are the three categories. When it have all, it will print all these methods, all the functions available in these three types. When I say go to library functions, as you can see, it lists out all the functions which are existing in my function library. As you, because see, in my function library I have this get dictionary object method. If you have multiple methods, those methods will be displayed here, because at this moment I have only one method in that function library. It listed that. All right. Built-in function, as you can see, all these are the built-in functions provided by VBScript. All right. And the next one is local script functions. For example, say if I have some function here, print okay, like function print val something, so print say some high. Now if you invoke it, step generator, and if you see local script function, it will issue because I have this print val method which is existing in the script, right? So that is how all the methods will be displayed. Alright, so this is done, and the only part I left here is like okay, public and private context. As I explained you in my sub procedures, like okay, let me tell you this one as well, because by default the like the function or sub procedures are public in nature. If you mention public or without mentioning public is also fine by default, because it is public. By default it is public. If you say private, what will happen is you will get a runtime error now if I execute the same script, because the context or scope of like method will end when I come out of this. Let me, as you can see, this method context will be existing in this file, alright, which cannot be accessed into QTP now. Even though we are associating, this method will be existing in this file only, which because it is private to this file. Alright, if it is a public which can be accessible to any other like from where you are calling it. Alright, so when I execute it, it will return an error message saying the method does not exist. If it is a public, then it will allow to call that. Alright, so let me run it. As you can see, it printed the location. Alright, so so we, yeah, I forgot to like tell you on this how we will return an array from a function, right? So for that, return array, why we got array, say some arr equal to arr ay of say 1 2 3 4 5. Alright, at this moment what I'm doing is I'm returning some array value. Let's see why we got an error earlier. So return array for I equal to 0 to u bound of a, print a of I. Alright, so here I'm returning this array. Alright, let me see, am I mistaking, am I doing any mistake here? So I'm just define this array returning this value 1 2 3 4, which I'm returning into this variable. I'm returning this value, alright, which I'm capturing in a variable called a here. I equal to 0 to u bound of a, print a of I hope the code is clean. As you can see, it prints all these 5 values. Alright, so previously I might have done some mistake. Alright, so this is how we will return a array. As you can see, array is the keyword, whatever the value that you are passing. Now arr is an array. Now that array I am returning like function name equal to array name. So when I'm invoking it, this array will be returned and captured in a variable called a. Alright, so now I am printing the each values in my array. That is how we will return arrays using functions. Alright, so I hope I have covered all the concepts in functions. Alright, so that's all in this video. Thanks for watching. Please leave your comments about this video. Thank you. Hello viewer. While demonstrating, returning an array value from a function, we got that error because we didn't declare this variable. So in VBScript, actually we did not to declare the variables, right? But if you didn't declare a variable, when I execute this statement, what will happen is during runtime, it doesn't know whether this is a variable or am I giving it some wrong syntax or something like that, right? So in order to give to work that statement, what I'm doing here is I'm just declaring this as a array. Alright. So when I say array of 1, what it will have is array of 0 and 1. I have two values. Because of that, I'm giving an array of index 1. And array of 0 will have square of the first value, and array of 1 will have a square of my second value. This array now I am returning in this function, and I am capturing that value, that array in temp var, and temp of 0 will have the square of first value, and temp of 1 will have square of second value, right? So when I execute it, let's see what is getting printed. As you can see, 5 into 5, 25 is printed, and 10 into 10 is 100. That's the reason 100 got printed here. Alright, so that is the mistake which I have done while demonstrating returning an array from a function. Alright, so that's all. Thanks for watching. Please leave your comments about this video. Thank you.